Alright, I was sold on this movie the minute I saw the Iron Giant in the trailer. The second I saw the Iron Giant in the trailer, I was like, I'm in. Because the Iron Giant's one of my favorite movies ever made. That's why. Ready Player One. So Ready Player One is directed by legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg. He brought us Jurassic Park, E.T., you know, all those classics, and it's based off the book by Ernest Cline. It takes place in a kind of dystopian future where the real world pretty much sucks, so we all like to escape to this virtual reality world called the Oasis, where you can be anyone and do anything. And now the creator of the Oasis has died, and he's left a contest. Whoever wins these challenges becomes the next owner of the entire Oasis, and by extension pretty much gets to shape the future. The main character's name is Wade Watts, aka Parzival, that's his avatar's name in the Oasis, and this movie follows him and his friends doing this contest, you know, solving puzzles, going up against bad guys, and now we have our really immersive movie. That's the first thing I'm gonna touch on here. Usually I touch on the characters first, but I gotta talk about this world that is the Oasis, because holy mother of... I didn't see this in IMAX or 3D, but still, I haven't felt this sucked into a world in a movie in a long time. I mean, I thought Wakanda was cool. Wakanda is cool. But the Oasis, dude. I just gotta give this movie props for being the most immersive movie I've seen in a while. Which is how I remember old school Spielberg movies being like. He was so good at making you feel like a kid, with this childlike wondrous quality he puts in his movies. This movie certainly had that quality, but it felt like it was updated for this new modern generation. It's kinda weird, it felt like old school Spielberg, but new. Does that make sense? Like, okay, what's a good comparison? You know how Star Wars The Force Awakens felt like a Star Wars movie, but it was just bigger because filmmaking technology is better now? It's like that, old school Spielberg formula, but just updated for 2018 in the best way possible. I mean, visually, this movie is awesome. Seeing this world open up, I mean, there are several different worlds in the Oasis. I mean, it's really limitless. And the fact that people in the real world have avatars in this world, it reminded me of the movie Avatar. But is there an excuse for this world looking a little too CG-ish? Yeah, there is an excuse. This virtual world is supposed to be like one big giant video game. So I feel like people complaining, oh, just the whole movie just looks fake like CG. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to look that way. It's supposed to look like a video game. And not only is the Oasis one big giant video game, but there are pop culture references galore. Like real world franchises, there are a million of them licensed in this movie. Like I said, the Iron Giant shows up. You don't understand. I grew up with the Iron Giant. That movie is in here. So just seeing him on the big screen in, you know, a real life kind of way made me giddy. That's just me being a fanboy. And of course, you know, the ones you saw in the trailer, like the DeLorean from Back to the Future, characters from Overwatch. All these pop culture references did get a little distracting from the story a couple times, but that was to be expected from me. I was so busy looking on the screen for something I might recognize that I wasn't paying attention to what the main characters were doing. That only happened a couple of times though. That being said, I like the characters. Wade Watts, played by Ty Sheridan, he's a really good protagonist. I also liked Artemis. Is it weird that I find her avatar more attractive than her real life self? I mean, I guess that might be the point sometimes when you have an online avatar. I know how it is. You make them look like the perfect physical specimen. I'm not saying Olivia Cooke isn't attractive, because she is. Again, it's like Avatar, where it's like, who didn't develop a little crush on Neytiri when they're watching the movie? Just admit it. But Artemis was a badass character though, and she and Parzival have really good chemistry. And then there's H. H is Parzival's best friend. I'd say he's the comedy relief, but he is a lot more than that. He actually is a supporting character, but he did have a lot of funny moments, like legitimately funny moments where it was just natural humor. Just reacting to the situation that was transpiring around him, that can be funny. The bad guy in this movie is Nolan Sorrento, played by Ben Mendelsohn, who we all still remember as Krennic from Rogue One. And yeah, he plays a great villain, but I wouldn't say he was really memorable in this movie. I feel like he pretty much played Krennic in this movie. Just a corporate asshole. Corporate douchebag. Now, as far as this whole movie goes, the first 40 minutes felt a little rushed, to me at first anyways, but I really had to think about it in context, because I liked what was going on 100% of the time. I love the characters, I love the story, I love what's going on, I love the world. I liked it more than the first half of Pacific Rim Uprising, but it did feel just a little bit rushed. Again, like they were kind of hurrying to get to the next scene. But after the first act, I have zero complaints. I was glued to the screen. It was all smooth sailing from there. The movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Good runtime. The score was written by Alan Silvestri, and like any great Alan Silvestri score, there's a great theme. It's really good stuff. Great fanfare with the trumpets. And in a couple of scenes in this movie, if you listen closely, if you're a film score nerd, or even if you're just a movie nerd, you'll hear a couple cues from other classic movies. I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it for you. Fact is, you gotta go see it for yourself. In the end, Ready Player One was awesome. It was, again, one of the most immersive movies I've seen in a long time. I thought Black Panther was immersive. This one beats it. I love the world of the Oasis. Steven Spielberg directed this movie beautifully. The story is great. I love the characters. I felt attached to them. I loved all the pop culture references that I got. I mean, let's face it, you're not going to understand every single reference in this movie, but you don't have to understand every single reference to enjoy it. I'll tell you right now, I don't know the first thing about Voltron or Gundam, but that doesn't change the fact that for Ready Player One, I will say, go see this movie right now. I know this movie's based on a book, but I want to see a sequel. Ernest Cline did say he's writing one, so maybe we'll see. So Ready Player One, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what is your favorite Steven Spielberg movie of all time? That's a good question. Whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.